Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 110, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and this is 2017 as I welcome my partner, Brian Hall.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Happy holidays.
I know, right? Right back at you. I can't believe I just wrote my first check today and had to write 2017. It was kind of a weird feeling.
You know what's weird is I realized that you know we had so much optimism at the beginning of 2015 because of course that was the Back to the Future year. So just as a out of curiosity, I was like, are there any movies set in 2017? And it's like The Running Man and Barbed Wire and all these like dark post-apocalyptic movies.
Wait a minute. And did you realize Arnold Schwarzenegger is hosting The Apprentice now? So Arnold Schwarzenegger is on a reality show in 2017.
Good Lord.
It happened.
I think it's the sign.
The biggest movie star in the world at one point now on a reality show in 2017. It was predicted.
Wow. In an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah. Huh.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But regardless, we are here.
Yeah.
We are back to ring in the new year. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, what's new and exciting?
Well, yeah, I just had my parents in town for Christmas, and they were here for about a week, and just celebrated New Year's. And, you know, obviously we were just talking off mic about how this is kind of a funny time of year where all of a sudden you're just bombarded with all these movies. You know, good movies that you're looking forward to, but they all come out in the span of like a couple of weeks or less.
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, like they're all ones you want to see and you just don't really have the time for it. But there's a lot of them that people are talking about. And so you sort of want to, you know, have conversations about them and you have to sort of, I saw this one, but I didn't see that one and trying to catch up with this one. And I mean, it's almost an impossible task, but it's been fun at the same time.
It's a task we're going to take on, damn it.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we're here for, right?
That's right.
So I guess, well, the first one, a lot of these that I saw will actually be in my, you know, best of. So I can talk about those later. But one that did not make it that I did see, and that's not any dings against it, but I saw Hidden Figures.
Oh, I've got that sitting right next to my Blu-ray player.
Nice. Yeah, it's
waiting to watch it.
What's that? I'm
just waiting for the moment to watch it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's what I thought about it, and I was getting a weird vibe. Well, what it is, it's about, you know, these African American women that were integral parts of the John Glenn space launch, you know, and the first man to orbit the Earth. And I was like, that is a story I want to see. But as I was seeing trailers and I was seeing posters, there's something that seemed very poppy about it.
Sure. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that, poppy?
Like I wanted to learn something, right? And I felt like it looked a little, I didn't know how much it's going to be about the details more than it was about trying to entertain you, I guess. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, the commercials have a lot of modern music in them, you know, and whatnot. And so, I mean, I can cut to the chase. The way that when I walked away from it, I was like, this is like a Disney sports movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense? Like it's a true story, but there is most definitely a template that you are very familiar with.
But come on, we get a Kevin Costner supporting performance.
Oh, he's great. Everybody's great in this movie. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I did feel like I did get to learn about a story that I didn't know about, which is great. But it did feel a little glossed over, and some moments felt like they could have come from any movie with this sort of similar type of story. And I was hoping to like really get into the nitty gritty of what it was like to work at NASA, let alone be a woman, let alone be an African-American woman in, you know, the 1960s NASA. And it does hit those points, but they didn't feel, I just feel like if I were to read like a book about this story, I probably would have been able to tell you a lot more about what that experience was like for them. Sure. And
okay, so the movie you feel kind of glosses over that?
Well, I don't think it glosses over it, but I wanted to know what it meant to be. I mean, it's like it's easy to forget what like the space race meant and how important it was, and it almost felt like life threatening. You know, if the Russians were to get to space first, what could they drop on us? You know, and they touch on that a little bit, but like I was hoping to get like really into like the details of history and these women and whatnot. And they, aside from Taraji, is it Taraji Henson? Taraji Henson. I mean, she's very
spoken
specific.
like someone who's never seen Empire.
I haven't, but I know her sort of persona from that show, just from previews and whatnot. She's very outspoken and brash and whatnot, and she's completely different in this movie. She's great. Everybody's great in this movie, by the way. Her, Octavia Spencer, Janelle Monáe, who I had no idea. I guess she's like a singer. I'm sounding like an idiot right now, but she's great. I was like, she did not seem like a singer trying out acting. Like, she was really good. And very memorable. She had my favorite moment in the whole movie, actually, where she wants to sort of advance herself. So she has to get a master's degree, and she has to attend courses that it's whites only.
I see.
And so she has to go to court to fight it. And I was really and I think that's just it, because I was very specific. Like, she needs this degree and she needs the thing, and she actually was the first African American woman to be in these like night classes to get her master's degree. I mean, it's crazy. It's like a crazy fact, and it was just really satisfying. Sorry, I'm spoiling it, but I mean, did you think she was not going to get it? But that I really enjoyed that. But then some of the stuff just felt very like, you know, you watch, like I say, like a Disney sports movie, and you sort of know, here's the part where they fall, and here's the part where they pick it up a little bit, and then here's the part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So totally enjoyable. I think there's the best picture version of this, which sounds like a very glib thing to say, where it like gets a little bit, gritty's the wrong word, but just a little more details. But this one's a little more it's very palatable. I think all ages can enjoy it. It goes down easy. So it's fun. I'd be curious what you think when you see it.
Well, I guess I'll let you know the next time we talk.
Yeah, or, you know, and sorry, I keep thinking of the Disney thing too. There's like you know, there's like the one adversary, the guy who doesn't like her, and you never think she'll get his respect, and then, you know, he eventually does a nice gesture. You know what I mean? It just feels very
rote,
familiar. Yes,
but good familiar.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be mad at it. You know what I mean? Like it really set out to. Probably, I mean, sort of like when you watch something like The Blind Side too, where you're sort of like, I think the story probably had a few more layers to it, but this is the general idea, and everyone seems to be enjoying it. So, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got out of it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure we'll have more sort of these Oscar bait type movies to discuss next time.
Yeah. Oh, and then Kevin Costner. I mean, come on.
He's Kevin Costner.
He shows up, and you're just like doing his Kevin Costner thing, and he's great.
See, that actually screws up my movie math, because I'm always like, we get 2 Kevin Costner movies a year. One is good, one is bad.
Uh-oh. What do you...
Well, because the 2016 gave us 3 Kevin Costner movies.
Oh.
Technically, right? Because if you recall, last, I think it was May, we had, or April, I think it was, we had a movie called Criminal come out. Do you remember that?
I do. I didn't till right now, but
yeah,
no,
I think that's most people. So I did my review of that, and I said that because of my movie math, that we get the good Kevin Costner movie and the bad Kevin Costner movie. I did not like Criminal, but that ended up being the good Kevin Costner movie, because he was also in Batman v Superman for like a minute and a half, which by definition that became the bad Kevin Costner movie.
Right.
So this kind of messes everything up.
That's funny. Well, it gets a wide release in January, if that helps.
I'll take it. That's funny.
How about yourself?
Have I seen anything lately? I'm trying to think. Geez. Well, I mean, there's stuff that I want to talk about later, later in the episode. I did revisit The Legend of Tarzan, which we talked about last summer.
Oh yeah, sure. And how did you feel about it a second time?
I think it plays better on the small screen.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Why is that? Why does that happen? Like, why?
It does happen sometimes.
Yeah, where you're like, it wasn't that bad, I guess.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you. Which reminds me of something else I saw, but I'll wait.
Well, just real quick. I mean, the movie. I mean, it's not great, but I think that there's worse ways to kill a couple hours. Which I think, if I recall, when we very first talked about this, like the trailer of this, that was kind of what you said. Like, it's something that I'd watch on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. And I guess what I'm saying is you were right.
Sure. Okay.
So just coming back around to that, it's harmless, is what I would say.
All right. Yeah, I can see that. That seems like something that I would stop on somewhere.
Sure.
Flipping.
Yeah, my wife liked it a little too much. She has no idea what it was about, but she's suddenly very enamored with Alexander Skarsgård.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's okay, because I'm enamored with Margot Robbie, so it works out.
Oh, wow. They really thought that through, didn't they?
They did. They made it specifically for us, yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
And I saw Live by Night, the Ben Affleck, like, gangster film.
No, well, don't tell me anything about this, because I'll be seeing it on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about it then.
Okay, perfect.
And I saw Rogue One again.
Okay, well...
I did...
What does this bring your tally up to?
3. Just like last year, because I saw it with the same group as I did last year. Then I saw it with my brother a couple days following, and then I saw it with my parents while they were out here. So I think this is going to become my December Star Wars viewing ritual.
Sure, yeah.
But I have to say, I mean, the things that we wish were a little slightly different. I mean, those won't ever go away. Those are things, a few character. A few more strokes here and there with the characters, I think wouldn't hurt. But at the same time, I mean, each time I watch it, I still enjoy it. I still things I had questions about. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they did kind of answer that, And you notice more each time, and I'm still, still enjoyed it. Didn't get bored with it, and it's still exhilarating too. The last act of it, so
yeah, I've seen it 3 times now, and I've ended up enjoying it slightly more each time. Mm-hmm. So that to me that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I'd be down with seeing it one more time in the theater. I saw Force Awakens, I think, 4 times when all was said and done.
So did I. I waited like a month or 2 and then saw it again.
Yeah, me too. So that might be in the cards.
High five.
Yay. Super geeks forever. Yeah, it's been fun. I've been giving the kids Star Wars figures.
Fun.
Yeah, it's funny because, the Star Wars figures, not the vintage ones, but like they are now vintage ones from the 90s.
Right, yeah.
Right, because those are 20 years old now. And if they overproduced the crap out of those figures, right, in the 90s. I mean, you couldn't not find them. And just every range of characters. So like 5-6 years ago, when at the time I just had 2 boys and they were just teeny tiny. I went to like a toy show or whatever, and I saw that they had all these Star Wars figures, and it was like 3 for $10 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I just snaked as many of them as I could and got as wide a range of figures as I could. And I was like, when the boys are older, I'll give them to them. And so now is that time.
Oh, funny! You've been sitting on them all these years.
I've been literally I had a bin in my garage, and basically a very wide range of characters from the original trilogy have just been sitting there, plus a bunch of like Phantom Menace toys. Mm-hmm. And so, now just gradually busting them out, and it's been a lot of fun because it's something that, because my older 2, I mean, they're 9 and 7, which is kind of that's the age that you want those, because they're aware of who the characters are and they can play with them and stuff. But the cool thing is that I got them a couple of Rogue One toys too. Mm-hmm. And I gave them, and they're fighting over who gets to be Jyn Erso.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And I was like, all right, that's good, because if I was a kid, I mean, I'm trying to, like, I don't think I would have wanted Jyn Erso. I would imagine being a dumb kid.
Say. Well, no, I agree. I mean, it was sort of different,
It was.
Yeah.
I
think it also speaks to the story, because I don't think I would have wanted a Wonder Woman toy.
Sure, okay.
But I really, or like Rey or something, like, I can't, I have no idea what I would be like at 10, but I think the story does a really good job of she's not a girl, she's not good for a girl, she's good enough for a girl, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
played up that she's just the hero.
Right. That's a good point.
So, I wonder if that has part to do with it.
That's a good point. And so their birthdays are coming up. My two older ones, they were both born in January. So just between you and me, the Millennium Falcon from The Force Awakens just arrived.
What?
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Shh, don't tell them.
It's funny, when I was growing up, like, if my dad was like, hey, I got something in the garage I want to give to you, it wouldn't be Star Wars toys. it would be rakes. He'd be like, and now you get to rake the lawn.
Here's a hose. Water the lawn.
A hose of your very own. Now get up at 6 a.m. every morning. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
I never had a Millennium Falcon when I was a kid.
No, me neither.
These friggin' kids are friggin' lucky.
Mm-hmm.
They better realize how lucky they are, damn it.
I wonder if they ever will, because they had it.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't give it to them.
Well, no.
Okay.
They're going to blame me now.
They listen to this as grown-ups.
It's funny, because, we're just lamenting because we didn't have those things, but then...
It's true, funny. Right? I mean, it's we used to jury rig, like, toys. Like, I don't know if you did this, but I used to get, like a juice box. Like, that you take to school, and I cut it in half, and I put water in it, and I put Han Solo in it, and I put it in the freezer.
Shut up! Are you serious?
Yeah. So
that's a great idea.
Carbon frozen.
I never did that. That's really funny.
I guess necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yeah, and then it can melt. You get your toy back.
Exactly. So that was fun.
That is funny.
Anyways. Moving on. We're going to be doing our top 10 for the year, but very quickly, we're just talking about Star Wars, and we can't not discuss, obviously, this just awful news that hit us like a ton of bricks in the closing days of 2016, and I'm talking about the passing of Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, our princess.
Yeah, talk about out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, yeah. We've talked a lot on this show about sort of how our heroes are getting older, and they're hitting their 80s and 90s, etc. But Carrie Fisher was 60. Yeah. So this is not something that you're even necessarily sort of anticipating.
Mm-hmm. Right. She's got 2 more movies to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a thought.
Yeah. So and then of course, tragedy upon tragedy. The day after Carrie Fisher dies, her mother passes away.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
It really.
That couplet, and especially knowing their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is also interesting because then this weekend, which is what, the 7th, the 7th. HBO is airing that documentary called Bright Lights. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it earlier today.
Which is just so interesting and sad that was something that was in the works and highlighting their, very special...
It was meant to be like a cute look at their relationship, and now it's this post-mortem kind of... I don't know, it's taking on this entirely different dimension than was intended,
Exactly that. Yeah, it's.
Just watching the trailer was hard to do, to be honest.
I know. Just like you said. It's a whole. You cannot look at it the same way. It was like you say. It was supposed to be sort of this cute little tribute to this special relationship between a daughter and her mother, and now just a couple of weeks, and it means a whole new thing.
So, and this is obviously a difficult conversation to have, but what do you think happens next insofar as Star Wars goes?
I don't know. Apparently she is pretty integral to Episode 8, right? And who knows where they were going with that? But then you wonder, they've got time if they sort of figure out a way. This is where it gets difficult, sort of similar to like Paul Walker or something, where you've got to write her out, of course, but at the same time, she's not just a character to us. She's a part of our lives. Yeah. And so you have to, in some ways, pay tribute.
Right. You can't just have her die off camera.
No, it's a touchy thing. I don't know. I don't know you do that. And along those lines, well, what do you think first before I say
Well,
anything?
you know, I was thinking about how this is one of those things that when the sale first happened, I thought about, where I was like, the further into the future they start making these movies, the more this is something they're going to deal with is, you know, the older cast leaving, you know, and I wasn't thinking about it in terms of them actually dying, but I just meant in terms of them moving off the stage, you know. But I don't know. I was thinking about how, in one sense, I wish we didn't have to deal with how are they going to kill off Princess Leia.
I know.
Like, I don't want... I almost... You know what I mean? And for 30 years, Princess Leia had her perfect ending. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my thought. I don't know. And it's... I mean, it's inevitable, obviously, because Star Wars is open-ended now. So, I mean, this is stuff that has to be dealt with. But I don't know. It's weird because I don't want it to sound like I'm minimizing this amazing person and her legacy and everything else. But I mean, obviously, we have a special connection with Star Wars, and we that's Star Wars is our connection with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's especially what you just said there, our special connection to her. It's, you know, a lot of times, you know, celebrity death happens and people sort of get, you know, on Facebook and they have their little tributes, and sometimes there's always the people who are like, well, you didn't even know them, you know, kind of whatever. And I've never felt that way. I mean, people, you have your connections, how you have your connections.
Let people
but
grieve the way they want to grieve. There's like asshole grieving now.
Yeah. But I this was, you know, I feel sad a lot of times when that happens, or I feel sad for people's families. But this one, I was so unprepared for it, and I actually found out from you.
Yeah.
I was at breakfast with my parents, and I got a text from you, and I was reading it to my parents, and then I found my voice cracking, and I was like, "Oh shoot!"
Wow.
Like, I think I'm gonna start crying, and it was funny because I didn't even have time to process. It was just like she is just sort of woven into something that's been very important to me for so long that you just, like you said, we have a lifelong connection with this person.
Yeah.
And it was definitely one of those ones that just really hit you hard. But and then, you know, you speak also, of course, you know, tied to her with Star Wars, but I mean, I also wanted to bring up, I mean, she's been in a lot of other movies too. They're great, like The Burbs.
Yeah.
And Blues Brothers, When Harry Met Sally. And, but she was also a fairly prolific writer. I mean, Postcards from the Edge, you know, that film based on a book by her. She's written a lot. Shockaholic, and she just had the Diarist. I didn't read that one yet, but
The Princess Diarist, yeah.
Yeah, which apparently, even before all of this happened, people were saying was really good. But for me personally, one thing I just wanted to share was, I guess a lot of people didn't know that she was a pretty prolific script doctor.
Yes.
And so which for people who don't know, a lot of times, you know, screenplays, the thing with screenplays, it's easy to think that, you know, one person writes them and they write a couple drafts and they get turned into a movie. But I mean, realistically, like a screenplay for a film has like 30 drafts and probably like 10 authors, you know, and some people, I worked on one movie and it was about like a woman going through this experience, and they just didn't feel like the woman, it didn't feel feminine enough. So they paid a woman like $50,000 and gave her a week to just help that character out. So people come on and just sort of do these things, but they don't do enough to get credit for it because the bulk of the story belongs to someone else. But anyway, Carrie Fisher would come on to scripts, and she would just, you know, punch up the humor, make a character a little more interesting. And one of my first experiences in Hollywood was working on the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie movie.
Yeah.
And I remember, again, because this is all, I mean, it's still cool to me now, but it was all very, very new to me then. And I remember getting this draft on my desk that I had to make copies of and hand out to all the actors. And at the top it said, latest draft written by Carrie Fisher.
Oh, how funny.
And I just remember that was like one of my earliest thrills. You know, like working here, just sort of like, damn, like Carrie Fisher like wrote this draft. Like, it was just... really cool. So I'd be curious. I don't even know half the things she worked on.
So she
I'd be
worked
really
on
interested to
Hook
learn. Oh, wow.
in 91, Sister Act, Lethal Weapon 3, The Wedding Singer.
Wow. I mean, those are all great.
And I believe she did some work on Attack of the Clones, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny now I think about it with Hook. Remember there's a cameo with her and George Lucas in there.
Is that right?
Did you know that? It's, I want to say Tinkerbell's flying over a bridge and there's a couple kissing under a lamppost.
Okay.
And her fairy dust lands on them and they start floating into the air. And that's George Lucas and Carrie Fisher.
That I would never have even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, you can see the. She also, I think she also worked on some episodes of Young Indiana Jones. Very, pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find any. Last Action Hero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Diverse, to say the least.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Made in America with Will Smith and Ted Danson. Remember that movie?
I do. I never saw it, but...
Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, I didn't see it. The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Coyote Ugly.
Huh. I mean, these are like all hits.
Yeah.
Wow. Sister Act. That's an interesting one.
Scream 3 she worked on.
Oh, that's funny. She's in that too.
Yeah. And Intolerable Cruelty.
Wow. Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones I pulled up. So very interesting.
That's pretty fascinating.
Well, a life well lived, and it's an irreplaceable loss. I don't know what's going to happen with Star Wars, and watching Episode 8 is going to be bizarre. Obviously, the closing moments of Rogue One took on an entirely different context 2 weeks after the movie came out.
Yeah.
And she'll be missed. I mean, it's 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, Leonard Nimoy died, and that hit me very hard, and this hit me probably just as hard.
Yeah.
But there is no effective way to segue, so I'm just going to power through it.
Yeah.
We do have our top 10 movies of 2016 to discuss. This has become our annual tradition. We measure how many years we've been doing this show based on how many of the best of episodes that we do,
Yeah.
So our first one was 2013. At the very beginning of 2013, we did the best of 2012. So upwards and onwards. Here we go.
Yeah.
So the way we usually do this is we just kind of, you do your number 10, I do my number 10, and we just kind of have a conversation, right? So you want to follow? That's what's worked in the past. I don't see the need to reinvent the wheel.
All right. Well, you want me to start?
Let's do this. And folks, there may be spoilers, but
I'll do my damnedest, honestly, to keep them pretty surfacey.
So don't get like super anal retentive about it. We're going to try to not spoil it, because we're assuming that at least a few of these movies you probably have not seen.
Yeah, I mean, in particular, I think with certain... Actually, I don't think I'm going to get too into spoilers, but like with anything that's like fairly recent, of course I'll try to avoid it. But anything from like first half of the year might be...
Yeah. So forgive us and don't be too jerky. Ease off on the hate mail, is what I'm saying. All right. So go ahead, Brian. Tell me your number 10.
Number 10 was The Jungle Book.
Okay, Jungle Book.
And it's funny because the way that I do this is every year I have this sort of document, and anytime I watch a movie, I put the date and the film that I watched.
Okay.
And it's just sort of this little list, and then at the end of the year, I kind of go through and delete some of the easier ones or movies that weren't from this year. And it's funny because as I was putting it together, I kept The Jungle Book just kept hanging on as one that I didn't delete. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, it's hard. It was back in April or whatever it was, but like I have to like remember back then, like what a really, really fun experience it was watching that movie. I was just completely delighted with it. So
that was a very late hanger-on into my list. It ended up being kind of an honorary mention.
Okay.
Honorable mention, excuse me.
Oh, we didn't do our honorable mentions. I have honorable mentions. Should I go first? Or should I go?
Yeah, go ahead. Do your honorable mention.
Okay. Well, I'll start real quick with TV. And the reason I do this is because I thought some of the TV I watched this year was even stronger than some of the films I watched. Got to mention Stranger Things. I think I saw that trailer back in the spring, and I thought that was going to be some weird thing I watched that no one else would care about. And I couldn't believe the life that thing took on.
You anticipated the zeitgeist when it came to that movie.
I guess. I mean, unintentionally. But I'm glad. I'm glad it was as good as it was, and everyone enjoyed it like I did. And then also The People versus O.J. Simpson. I thought I was just riveted with that thing. I loved it. The FX series. I saw, this is my sort of, I clumped them a little bit. Patriots Day / Sully.
Okay.
my true life films.
Sure.
I just recently saw Patriots Day, which is about the Boston Marathon bombing and then the pursuit of the suspects in the following days. And I just saw that recently, and it wasn't enough to put it on my best of list, but I have to say I was really engaged by that movie, and it covered a lot of things that I had sort of forgotten about, a lot of just details that either I hadn't remembered or I hadn't heard, and some of them are just so strange, that you're just like, and it's just such an interesting portrait of Boston, and just like the sort of, I thought it was fascinating because I think people may not remember, but they actually had a curfew. They made people stay in their houses while they tried to find these suspects. And this town not only cooperated, but figured out how to cooperate from their homes. It is just, I don't know. I found it a really engaging watch. And then I also caught Sully over the break with my parents. And I think it was probably on the same page with you, if I remember correctly, where it wasn't, it didn't blow your hair back per se, but it was something that I remembered, and I thought they found an interesting way to dramatize it.
Yeah, and just a showpiece for Tom Hanks.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And just, I didn't realize the scrutiny he was under, while he was doing talk shows and whatnot. He was also, they were trying to figure out if he's to blame and if he had done the right thing, and there's a lot of drama.
But the thing is that the movie, essentially fabricated that entire...
that hearing?
The Inquisition, basically.
Well, that's the reason I'm even mentioning it. So what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's kind of infuriating when you read on it. Even
this is why I don't like biopics.
Even Sully Sullenberger's that didn't happen. They weren't going after me.
Well, what about the whole trial? Well, all right, now we're getting to spoilers here.
Yeah,
but anyway,
essentially, Act 3 of the movie. It's kind of like, remember the end of Argo? Where
yes, the pursuit.
They're chasing him onto the tarmac, and this, and then it's like, are they going to get him? And then in real life, it's like, no, they just got on the plane took off, and that was it. So this is that they Argoed the Sully story.
All right, well, Sully is a movie. I enjoyed it, but
do you agree with what I said before? Where
I'm giving a little side eye to Sully now.
If you remember on our show, I mentioned when we talked about Sully that the last line of the movie felt like something out of a sitcom.
It does, and it just kind of fades to black.
Yeah, it was like they didn't know how to end the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, all said and done, I did enjoy it. My whole family enjoyed it. We watched it.
You're not going to be disappointed if you just go in
looking
for a solid Tom Hanks performance, and it's an engaging drama.
Yeah. The Nice Guys.
Sure.
Shane Black movie, Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe. Something about it just didn't make me love it like I wanted to going into it, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And I'm always going to welcome a new sort of modern noir Shane Black movie. I want to throw a shout out to 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was one of the few original movies I feel like I saw this year.
Sure.
And, just someone trapped in a basement with a person you don't know you can trust or not, and then I thought they did a really good job of stretching out tension, and then by the end it just goes bonkers in the best way, in my opinion. So yeah, those were my honorable mentions. Oh, and I seriously wanted to throw out a little thing here I called Seriously What, which is do you remember they made a sequel to Zoolander?
What? Only because you told me about it.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's just funny how for as long as that movie's been out, the original Zoolander, people are like, when is there going to be a sequel?
Mm-hmm.
and then it's almost like the movie got made and nobody who was demanding it actually showed up to watch it.
I don't even know if the people demanding it saw it. I mean, that movie and it was not good. And I just, as a fan of the original. Anyway, seriously what? Like, seriously what? I forgot. So, those are my honorable mentions and my seriously what.
That's hilarious. Well, let me, real briefly, my honorable mentions. The Jungle Book, as I mentioned, is in there. Zootopia.
Uh-huh.
It was almost on my list, but it missed it by a hair.
Is that the only reason?
No, but I realize that pun doesn't work as well, like spoken. Hair, H-A-R-E, hair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I love Zootopia. I think it's fantastic. Really, really good. And I just, there were other movies I liked better, but I think I absolutely recommend it. I think it's fantastic. Doctor Strange is on my honorable mention list. Really, really like it. Again, just missed it. And then lastly, Loving.
Yeah, I gotta see that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that hasn't gotten as much traction as I thought it would.
Pretty under the radar, and from what I've heard, it's really great. So
I mean, it's a very good movie. I'm a little disappointed, Really good performances, but those would be my honorable mentions.
Okay.
So your number 10 was The Jungle Book. My number 10 is Wiener.
Nice.
I like Wiener, Brian.
Hey, you know what? I like Wiener too, so I'll bring it up now because it's on my list also.
We love Wiener.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is of course the documentary that was released in the early part of this year about the rise, fall, or the fall, rise, fall arc of Anthony Weiner, Congressman Anthony Weiner's political career. And I think it's just a fascinating portrait of the intersection of media and politics and how the age we live in has allowed for a character like this to not only become a viral sensation, but to then that virality sort of becomes the source of his own downfall. He's like a Shakespearean character.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's interesting to me is that his shenanigans are now kind of like one more asterisk next to Donald Trump's like election win.
Isn't that fascinating?
I mean, his Anthony Weiner's junk screwed the country. So it's almost like I want like an epilogue to this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's easy to just poke fun at him, and he deserves it.
He absolutely does.
But it's just, what's so interesting about the film is that he's such a passionate guy.
Yeah.
And he already had his scandal, and he's on his comeback, and he wants to run for the mayor of New York, and you just really believe he can do it.
Yeah.
And you just see him out there with the people, and I believe his passion. I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this happens to him again, and you're just like, what a... this guy.
How are you going to do this? Well, and he says at one time in the film, like, I didn't have sex with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? And this is not in any way justifying what he actually did.
No,
But that is something really interesting, is how there are other politicians who've had far worse scandals. I mean, there's a guy, Senator David Vitter, who, like, he was in a prostitute's ledger, and his fetish was dressing up as a baby. Right. And he not only got elected, he got reelected. He kept getting elected.
Right.
And so it is kind of interesting how Anthony Weiner became the fulcrum of something that on the spectrum of just congressional shittiness, it's still shitty, but it's not as shitty as the other stuff,
Right.
So
right.
Kind of. I mean, if you
yeah.
folks, if you haven't seen this, and I'm guessing you haven't, it's really, really worth watching, because I think I can't think of a documentary that does a better job of sort of encapsulating the intersection of media and politics.
And it just, what makes it so crazy too is just they could not have planned this.
Yeah, right.
Like when they were filming this. I mean, they were making a whole other movie, and then they just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Or the wrong place.
I was going to say, yeah, for him. But I mean, I want to talk about other things to make it sound compelling to people, but it would just spoil it. Like you just have to.
Honestly, it's a documentary that tackles a very sort of sleazy topic, but it's not lascivious.
No, not at all. It's very human.
It is, and there's a terrific moment at the very end where Anthony Weiner. It's after the fallout of everything, and he's on the street, and some kid comes up to him and is like, "Are you, oh my God!" And he like gets a picture of him. Mm-hmm. He gets a picture with him, and then he's like, "I'm going to look you up on the internet." And Anthony was just like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't write that. Yeah. Yeah.
So really, if you haven't seen it, worth checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
So number 9, Brian.
Number 9. I'm going to cheat a little bit here.
Okay.
I did a 2.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Manchester by the Sea.
Okay.
Which, did you have that on there? I can't remember.
I do. That is my number. Well, I'll tell you. It's on my list.
Okay. Well, let's get back to that then.
Yeah.
So I'll go the other one because I felt very similar watching these movies. Hell or High Water.
Okay.
Is what I tied it with at number 9.
Okay.
Which do you have that?
I do have that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into that one then.
Okay.
Hell or High Water was one of those films where I had heard. That was one of the movies where I watched it just because I had heard how good it was.
That's right. Me too.
Right? And so, you got Chris Pine, Ben Foster playing brothers, robbing banks. And, the movie starts off with this robbery, and you don't know why they're doing it, but they have these very methodical, well thought out sort of ways of carrying them out, and it just draws you right in. And then you have the slow sort of Texas sheriff. When I say slow, I should say elderly, but still, whip smart and has seen everything.
It's a Jeff Bridges character.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And, man, Chris Pine, like, who knew Chris Pine? I mean, I know he's a likable guy, and he's a likable actor, and I like him as Captain Kirk, but I thought he really inhabited an entirely different thing, playing this, Texas rancher guy. And Ben Foster is so good in this movie, playing his sort of, like, loose cannon brother. Just Chris Pine's relationship to his ex-wife and his son, and just where the movie heads.
Ben Foster, by the way, is one of these guys who's been flying under the radar for a long time, and he consistently does good work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was just a really compelling yarn, a modern Western.
It's like a neo-Western, yeah.
Yeah, and I was really taken with it, so.
Yeah, so you had a tie for number 9. My number 9 was, speaking of Chris Pine, Star Trek Beyond.
Nice.
So I can't think of a single other Star Trek movie I would have put on my best of list.
Really?
Well, you know what? Obviously Star Trek 2, like The Wrath of Khan, had I been reviewing movies that year. And possibly the 2009 one, now that I think about it. But I was unprepared for how much I enjoyed Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a fan of this franchise. I'm a diehard fan. Mm-hmm. I just think, there's this line late in the movie where Captain Kirk is fighting the bad guy, and who's played by Idris Elba, and he says, everyone is going to die. You're going to fail, or something to that effect. And Captain Kirk says, better to die saving lives than to live with taking them. Mm. And, to me, that line just sums up, I think, sort of the classical morality that this film represents. Mm-hmm. And, when we think about larger-than-life heroes and the lessons we learn from them, that's something that's what Star Trek has always been about. It's about the idea that the universe is bigger than you. Right. And so, we talk about this is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. Why has Star Trek lasted this long? To me, it's because of the sentiment embodied in that bit of dialogue. Mm. So, and the Star Trek Beyond didn't do that well at the box office, and there's some question about whether the franchise will continue, but I hope it does. I think that this film alone embodies why this version of the franchise should continue.
Yeah, I should have put that in my honorable mentions. I mean, I really, it's a great, just adventure film.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, that it didn't do as well, because I thought it held up just as well to any of the others that everybody liked. So
yeah. So your number 8, Brian?
Number 8 was Wiener.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. What was your number 8?
So number 8 for me, Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
Man, I am so disappointed. I'm seeing this pop up on everyone's lists, and I'm jealous. I'm like, I missed something.
Well, do you have a screener for it?
No.
Do you have Hulu?
No.
Well, if you have access to Hulu,
I'm sure I could get access to the film.
It's if you have access to Hulu, it's free on there right now.
Okay.
It's you and I, we talk a lot about sort of the special nostalgic place in our heart for the Goonies and things like that. This to me, this is directed by Taika Waititi, who he is a New Zealand filmmaker who he's directing actually the new Thor movie, Thor 3.
Okay. Oh,
and
wow.
he's
off of this, or
no, he did this, and he did I think it's, oh my gosh, I'm gonna screw up the name. He had a well-received movie before this.
Okay.
Called, hold on, I'm on IMDb. Stand by. Okay. Boy. He did a movie called Boy.
Okay.
In 2010. That was his directorial debut. And then he did a movie called What We Do in the Shadows, which I haven't seen. But
oh, gotcha.
And you have.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So this stars Hunt for the Wilderpeople. It stars Sam Neill.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Neill plays this widower who, before his wife died, she had adopted this child, this foster child, who, now that the wife is gone, the boy has to go back to foster care, and he doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, through a series of circumstances, Sam Neill and this kid, who's played by Julian Dennison, by the way, end up going on this adventure in the woods. And
okay.
That might not sound very compelling, but I think that this is a movie that's just, it has its heart on its sleeve, and it's fun and quirky, and it has a very sort of kind of off-kilter sensibility. I was going to say New Zealand sensibility, but I don't know what that means. But it's very off-kilter in a fun way, and it's just, I mean, they don't make movies like this, you know? It almost feels like this needed to come out of another country, because we don't make movies like this here in the United States.
Okay. I'm sold. This is going on my list of to watch.
Yeah,
I have a list called to watch, so I don't forget these things.
To watch. Yeah, I'm very curious what you end up thinking about Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Yeah. So that was number 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 7. Go ahead, Brian.
Number 7 for me was Arrival.
Oh, okay.
Is that on your list?
It is on my list.
Oh,
it comes later, though.
Yeah. So I mean, I think what it is that I liked so much about this movie was, as I've mentioned probably many times, I'm a huge fan of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
And I think growing up when we did with the Spielberg movies that we did, you know, we are really, or I am definitely endeared to movies where aliens or UFOs or something fantastic happens in your backyard. You know, and to think that something as magical as the film Close Encounters could happen in my neighborhood is something that I've always been really taken with. And so Arrival, I think, is just like it's like the modern, I've heard it compared a lot to Close Encounters, like the modern sort of thing. And the story has nothing to do with it, but it's just sort of that feeling where something fantastic could happen on Earth, and how would people on Earth actually, as real human beings, react to this? Like, it wouldn't be filled with explosions in downtown LA, you know, blowing up and annihilation, but it would result in trying to figure out the mystery of what do these people want, and how do we even try to communicate with them. And then I think that could have been an interesting enough movie on its own, but then on top of that, you have this story that is equally, if not more, about Amy Adams' character, who is the linguist who's trying to learn how to speak with them. And I think that her story is interesting enough that this alien, I was going to say invasion, it wasn't an invasion, but them showing up is just part of her story.
Right.
And I thought I did such a good job marrying those two stories and making something that just completely meshed together and was really compelling and really well acted, and a really brilliant new take on film narrative. So Yeah, I just really got a lot out of this one.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for Arrival too. I mean, I think it's sci-fi from a human perspective, and that what's been most refreshing is hearing from people who would not, even look twice at a sci-fi movie, checking this out and really finding it kind of a revelatory experience. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Number 7.
Number 7, Arrival for you. Number 7 for me, La La Land.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so this is directed by Damien Chazelle, who you loved his previous film, Whiplash.
That was my number 1.
Yeah, that was last year or the year before.
Yeah,
right?
last year or whatever it was. But I should say this is on my list as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
let's do it. Go for it.
So this is a movie that I liked it when I first saw it. I wouldn't say I was over the moon about it, though. I was like, oh, it was really good. And then I watched it again on DVD via the screener that they sent. And at that point, I was like, my gosh, like this, like it really does sort of take up residence in your head.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up. I was surprised by how much I liked it.
It's funny. We texted about it earlier this week. We had the exact same experience, and I think, this movie's been really pumped up, and the commercial
to its detriment, I would argue.
I would argue that too. And yeah, it makes it too much of you anticipate too much for it to like knock your socks off and be this whole new experience in cinema.
Yes.
And it's not. It's just like a modern musical, and it's a cute story. And I think if I had any things I would say about it where I thought it was lacking was, the story is pretty slight. I think the story might have benefited from having a few more things. Like, again, it felt a little template-like, where it's like, this happens, then which leads to this, which leads to that, and then this is the result, sort of a thing. And I wish that the characters had a few more surprising things happen to them, even if they still went on the same sort of journey. But all that said, what we were talking about is the charm of this story is like what you walk away with. And it doesn't you know what I mean? Like, it's more of like a feeling. When I think of this movie, it's more like remembering a feeling, like the roller coaster that these characters go through and the music that accompanies it. And when it was over, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. I guess I was expecting something else in some way. I don't know. But then I found that I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like eager to watch it again. And I've been listening to some of the music, again, and then the opening number on the freeway.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a screener of this also, and I literally watched that. I want to say 5 or 6 times. I just kept busting it out. I'd start to watch something else, but I'd put that in first and just watch that freeway scene again. So yeah, it's really sort of burrowed its way into me, like you were saying. It really, and I'm eager to see it again. So
yeah, so very solid flick. So that was my number 7. Mm-hmm. What's your number 6, Brian?
Number 6 for me was OJ Made in America, another documentary.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because I saw this turning up on people's top lists, and I saw people getting screeners of it and whatnot. So I was like, oh, well, I can count that as a film. Then that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's funny because I watched it and I loved it, and during the San Francisco Film Critic Awards, it was between OJ and I'm Not Your Negro.
Okay,
and it was you had a very passionate cohort of people insisting that it's unfair to categorize OJ Made in America as a film.
Oh, interesting.
Because essentially it's a season of TV, right? It's like however long it is.
Oh, that's funny. It is. It's 7 hours and 47 minutes.
Right, which, by any rational measure, that's not a movie. That's a miniseries.
That's a good point.
So that was the back and forth. But anyway, I totally agree with you. I think it's fantastic. It's absolutely worth watching.
This is who would have thought that 2 OJ specials would make my top whatever of the year.
Not OJ, I'll tell you that much.
No, and while I enjoyed the People versus O.J. Simpson, which was the dramatized version, which was very good in its own right, but the O.J. Made in America, this is a story that I remember from actually living through it, and I have sort of a perspective on it, even though I was young. And I thought this documentary did an amazing job of helping me understand who OJ was, because I only knew OJ as the guy from the Naked Gun movies, and he used to play football, right? And
funny.
right, and they spend a whole 2 hours helping you understand where he was from and what he meant as an athlete.
Sure.
And by the end of that little portion there, I was like, I like this guy. You know, like I want to know this guy. And then, of course, it gets into how there were dark things behind the curtain. And then, of course, you have this whole, you know, murder trial that he's involved in, and how the state of Los Angeles where this was taking place and how everyone felt, and people thinking he's guilty or not guilty for rational and irrational reasons. And when you have the expansive, almost 8-hour running time, you can't help but, I mean, it gives you all the details, and it helps you to completely understand the context of everything. And there was not 1 minute I was bored. And when it was over, I was clamoring for more. And it even has like a really interesting wrap up to it, to where you see in stark contrast where OJ is now versus where he started.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
when he was the guy that you wished you knew. And it's just, I mean, it's just, even as I was watching it, I marveled at the skill of putting together this sprawling epic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's, I mean, you're going to hear, folks, if you're listening, you're going to hear that time, and it's going to be sort of a barrier to entry. I mean, don't let it be. I mean, take the opportunity to just think of it as a binge watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even, you know, something you space out, but it's absolutely worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So going from OJ to the last time that OJ was a superstar, or the first time, I should say, my number 6 is The Nice Guys.
Nice.
Which, yes, Nice Guys. So I guess I liked it a scotch more than Brian did. But I just, you know, it's a charming character piece. I mean, it has humor and action and everything else, and it's just, to me, I look at The Nice Guys, and I think it's the type of movie that Hollywood should be doing more of. So it infuriates me that it just didn't do that well. You know?
Yeah, it's just, we talked about this. I remember when we were doing our discussion about it, and I had this moment where I was having so much fun in the third act once we knew these guys and they were working together finally. And I remember thinking, like, we're never going to get a sequel of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to get to see these guys interact again. And what a shame that was.
It's a shame, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's... but now that it's on home video, I do hope people check it out. So if you haven't seen The Nice Guys yet, give it a watch.
Yeah.
You know? So number 5 for you, Brian.
Number 5 for me was La La Land.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we have already spoken of La La Land.
Delightful, fun, and can't wait to see it again.
And let us never speak of this again. So number 5 for me, Captain America Civil War. This is a fun one for me. It was a choice. It was a toughie because I really like both this and Doctor Strange. I give this one the slight edge because to me, I think it's almost it's a culmination of the Marvel. You know, it's kind of the apotheosis of what those movies have been doing.
Right.
And there's demonstrable, remarkable skill with which they've woven this 8-year narrative and built it to a point where we actually care on a character level as these people in colorful costumes are throwing trucks at each other. Mm-hmm. And that's the ultimate test for a movie like this. And, I think I said this before, but you can look at this and Batman v Superman as sort of right way, wrong way, about to tell the same story.
Right.
And I think ultimately, without this turning into a pile-on session for Batman v Superman, but I mean, where that movie was lacking was in that it didn't have enough runway beforehand to really allow for the emotional moments to work. And I've seen Civil War a bunch of times, obviously since it's been on home video. And what I always glom onto is the character stuff. It's the small stuff. It's not the action beats, which I love, but it's the dialogue between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers as you see them these are two close friends who have a real ideological breakdown between them. Mm-hmm. And how they attempt to navigate that. I mean, that's the stuff that to me makes the rest of the story compelling, and it's something that it's why the Marvel universe is something I always look forward to going back to.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and I remember too. I mean, how are you going to watch a movie with two guys that you like and don't want to dislike, disagree with each other enough to the point where they are fighting? And not lose me or have me join a side. Like I remember that was what I was going to say Marvel that. That's what I was impressed by the most was the fact that as soon as Tony Stark was saying his piece, I was like, well, yeah. And then as soon as Captain America was saying his piece, I'm like, yeah,
good point.
And you understand both of them. And I mean, what a thing to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. So there have been, I think, what were there, like 6 superhero movies last year?
Who knows?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
And to me, Captain America is very top of that hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was my number 5. And so what's your number 4?
Number 4 for me was The Founder.
See, now this is one I have to admit I did not see, and I wish I had.
This is the true story about Ray Kroc, who meets the founders of McDonald's and wants to try to expand it, right? And he wants to help them start making franchises out of it. And this was a movie where I remember they showed like a trailer for it, and it was like Michael Keaton playing the founder of McDonald's, and thinking like, oh, this is going to be one of those, like end of the year movies and whatnot. And I wasn't too taken with the trailer for some reason. I was just like, oh, okay. And, again, this was a screener that I was like, well, have it. Let's put it in. And I just really got into this story. I mean, it's fascinating because it's about a company we all know and we've all eaten at, and it's ubiquitous across the world. I mean, I was just in Japan, and I stopped in McDonald's over there one time, and just to see the humble beginnings of what McDonald's began as.
Sure.
And it's, with these two brothers who are played by Nick Offerman and John Carroll Lynch, and they are so great. Their relationship and their characters are just really, you're really with these guys. And then, Michael Keaton, this is one of those instances where I guess I don't want to go too far because I don't know if people really know this story, but it's basically like The Social Network with McDonald's.
Okay. Well, and I don't think you need to say much more than that. I think people can.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's not even like spoiling it. I mean, there's just so many things going on in here where you're like, well, that's really fascinating. And just seeing how restaurant culture, fast food culture was in the 50s.
Right.
And just what that was like, and the sort of people attracted, and what would make it a place successful and what would not, and what was innovative thinking at the time that we take for granted now. It's a very breezy film, but I thought it was a very, I thought it showed me a lot, and I walked away feeling like I learned a little bit about a company. I learned about people I didn't know, and I was pretty riveted with it as it was going along. So
nice.
Yeah.
So that was
look forward to hearing what you think of it eventually.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see it as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
So my number 4 was Hell or High Water, which we already discussed.
Nice.
Won't get into that again. Number 3, go ahead.
Number 3 for me was Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, okay. Pretty high up there for you.
Yeah. This was again one of those ones that I feel like such a bum keep bringing up screeners, but this was one that I sort of missed in theaters, and I was like, oh, I'll eventually catch it, and then I came across a screener, and this is a true story, World War II Army medic Desmond T. Doss, and he joined the military because he felt like it was his duty to serve his country, but because of his beliefs, he wouldn't carry a rifle, he wouldn't carry an instrument of death, so he was one of the first conscientious objectors to receive the Medal of Honor.
Oh, wow.
And that's that's so much in the trailer, but the first half of the film, of course, is sort of much like Full Metal Jacket, where the first half is sort of the boot camp, what he's going through, and then in the second half is him thrown into hell, and what's a guy going to do in the middle of an insane battle with no gun. And needless to say, I mean, heroic amazing things, go down, and he, again, this is why it's hard not to get into it, but it's a very moving story, and Andrew Garfield, I thought, did a really, really good job of playing this sort of innocent person who is not naive and who you believe could be underestimated, but you also can believe all the things that he accomplishes.
Sure. Okay.
And when it was over, I was just my brother and I watched it together, and we were sort of like, "Whoa, like what? That's a hell of a story." I mean, I feel like at one point I remember, like there's always like a World War II movie, up for the Oscars every year. It's like, well, it's a World War II movie, but there's just so many stories. I mean, I'm like, this is a story that's worth being told, that actually happened, that affected a lot of people's lives, and I thought it was really well done.
Nice. Okay. So I have not seen this one yet. I've got this is one of those ones where I've got the screener sitting next to my Blu-ray, and I'm hoping to get to it as soon as I can.
Nice.
So that was your
3.
That was your 3. Okay, so number 3 for me, Manchester by the Sea.
Nice.
So now you mentioned this came earlier on your list.
Yeah, I put it at number 9.
Okay, so what appealed to you about Manchester by the Sea?
Well, I think why I had it a little bit higher for me was this is what's so interesting about this movie. And I was trying to explain to someone. This is not like a normal narrative.
No. Right?
Like, it doesn't really have a beginning, middle, and an end. You are basically dropped into the lives of some people as they're going through something, and then at the end you exit. And
yes.
That's what I loved about it.
Yes.
And another thing I loved about it was when I was trying to explain what the story was to someone without really telling them the story, I said, picture a guy at a bar, and he's, seems like a pretty normal guy, but then out of nowhere he gets a little explosive, and then he doesn't necessarily hurt anybody, but then he decides to leave. This movie is about that guy and helping you understand why he is the way he is. Like, you don't know who you're sitting next to and what they've been through. And I feel like that's what this movie is about. Like, you get to spend some time with a guy who you might find off-putting in some ways,
right?
But you get to learn about him and understand why he is the way he is. And in some movies, those would be in little bit broader strokes because you need to understand something within a certain amount of time. But this is not about that at all. This movie is about stating things and
yes.
nuances and details and very, very true to life sorts of experiences, moments, things. Like, there's a brilliant moment. Like, this movie takes the time to have a moment where these two guys are in a car, and someone talks about getting out of the car, and they misunderstand each other. So one guy hits the pedal to move, and one guy opens the door to get out, and they yell at each other.
Right.
And then they sort of move past it.
You're right. Yeah.
And it's amazing because it's so true, and it could seem sort of like, well, why would you could throw it away and the movie wouldn't miss it, but that's what this movie is. It's made up of these
all
moments.
of those moments.
Yeah, and it serves these characters and helps you to understand them more and more with the time you spend with them. So I mean, that's and everything everybody's saying about Casey Affleck and how amazing he is in this movie is correct.
It's a fantastic performance.
Yeah. It's a really, and as it goes along, you begin to understand it more and more, if that makes sense.
Totally, yeah.
Right? Well, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, I think that it's a story about grieving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I appreciated is that it's not Hollywood grieving.
Yes.
And just as a corollary, I would point to a movie which I haven't seen, but I've read enough about, Collateral Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
This new Will Smith movie,
right?
And that's all about. So Manchester by the Sea is about a character who, I don't know how much to say. He's grieving a loss.
Yeah,
I'll say that, and that's what Collateral Beauty is about. But in Collateral Beauty, you have Will Smith as the character who he's lost his daughter, and so he's. For a year, he's been like building domino forts and you know what I mean?
Right.
In this very, like, you look at that and you're like, that's something that they do in movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's very movie-ish. And I can't speak too much about that movie because I haven't seen it. But I knew about that film when I watched Manchester by the Sea. So I was able to sort of form this. I was like, well, look at how this tackles it. And what I found so interesting is that it weaves flashbacks into the story in a way where you don't know if what you're watching is a flashback. And I was like, that's how human memory works to some extent.
Right.
Because memory is nonlinear.
Right.
And we experience, in our mind, we experience many moments at once when we look at them in hindsight. And I liked that aspect of jumping to a different time and having that moment of like, wait, where are we? Or when are we? And trying to put the story together. Like that was the most pleasing aspect. It was like the film asked me to do some work.
Yeah. And
I liked that.
Yeah.
And I can see how some people would not like that.
Yeah. And it's just a whole different story and type of storytelling. But I also, something I wrote down that I wanted to remember was that his nephew,
yes,
the character of Casey Affleck's character's nephew, he's not a super likable guy all the time.
Right.
And I really like that.
That kid is a great performance by that kid too.
Yeah, but sometimes he's kind of a dick.
Yeah,
but he's a teenager.
Exactly. That's how teenagers act.
He's like a real teenager, and sometimes he's really sweet.
Right.
And he's going through his own sort of journey. And what I also like too, like you say, Affleck is this character who's sort of suffering, and there are these moments where like the kid will be like, I want ice cream. And in my head, and then Affleck is, his character is just like, okay. Like, right. And in my head, I was thinking like, does the kid want ice cream? It's like, no, he's telling his uncle to buy him ice cream in a very rude way. And you would expect someone to be like, look, man, like you can ask nicely. Like I'm going through a lot, but it's just like, no, like he's trying to, I'm having a hard time articulating this, but like it was such a realistic, it's not your son, it's your nephew. And there's a different sort of relationship where you're willing to comply a little bit more with them.
Right.
And you still get this sort of disaffectedness from Affleck's character, but just the way that he exists with his nephew, it's just, it has to be seen to be understood, to be honest. I can't even really explain it, but it's just so well done.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, so that's number 3. What's number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me was Rogue One.
Hey, that's my number 2 also.
Hey!
Wow, we hit the bullseye.
All right.
That's hilarious.
We stayed on target.
We did.
But, I mean, I don't know how much more we can really say about this, but we're
both like
Star
Rogue
Wars
One.
fans. We liked it.
Well, what I will say is this. I remember last year, The Force Awakens placed on your top 10. I can't remember where it ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Was it your number 1?
I don't think so, but it was probably pretty high.
It was near the top. And what I said then was, and I've said this to you since, but what's ultimately kept The Force Awakens from that is that it's 1/3 of a story.
Yes.
And so it wasn't in and of itself as fulfilling as it needed to be. And Rogue One did not have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One sets up your scenario and it pays it off by the end. So that if you don't watch anything beyond this, you've still got a compelling story with compelling characters.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
It's not a perfect direct comparison, but when you think, we praise Back to the Future 2 a lot as a sequel, because it's its own story, but then by the end, they find this brilliant way to help you relive what you loved about the first movie.
Yeah.
And I think... Right? You could almost say the same thing about this, where as you get nearer and nearer to the finale of Rogue One, it helps you to love and appreciate, and it enhances a movie, episode 4, which you already loved, in a whole new way.
Yeah.
While it exists as its own thing. So it's number 2.
It's interesting because somebody has pointed out, a few people have pointed out how the continuity between this one and episode 4 isn't exactly airtight.
Okay.
Because of the fact that when Darth Vader catches up to Princess Leia's ship in episode 4, her whole thing is like, well, we're on we're a diplomatic ship and this and that, and he should be like, dude, I just saw you like 5 minutes ago. You escaped me. I was like almost on your ship, and you was like that. I was just there,
Right.
That would be his actual response. And it's funny how the conversations for some people this is like a deal breaker. And it hasn't been for me because I'm like, well, I mean, that's the fun of it. I guess you just find a way to to fudge it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like the reason it works for me is that I think the character stuff is effective. Mm-hmm. And that's more important than sort of issues of continuity. By the way, did you read this article? It's so interesting, talking to the editors of the film.
Yeah, I did.
And how they put together a rough edit from similar scenes in other movies.
Right.
And that was really interesting because there was, again, I saw some back and forth. Some people were like, well, that makes me like the movie less. That's what some people were saying. Because it sort of highlights sort of the artificiality of it, that they essentially put together this, previs version of the movie and then wrote the script to that. And I'm
I mean, I don't agree with that.
I think it's more impressive that that's what they did. I think that's cool. I think that these type of big blockbuster movies are collaborations anyway. Yeah. And so the trick is, well, can you find a way to inject heart into it,
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
I love this movie. I really do. I can't recommend it enough to people.
Yeah, and it's that's another thing too. We didn't say at the beginning, and I usually say this every year. Is like I'm not telling you I think these are the best. These are the definitive best films of 2017 or 16. These are the movies that I had the best experience with in 2016.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. All right, Brian. This is it. Number one.
Oh snap! Really? We're at number one already? My number one movie of 2016 was Lion.
Wow, number one.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. My wife saw it.
Did she like it?
So here's what happened with my wife. So we got the screener.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Oh, I really want to see this." And then like 3 nights later, she was out with her friend, and she went out to dinner. And so I pinged her. I was like, "Hey, where are you?" And she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go watch a movie." I was like, "Oh, that's fine. What are you gonna see?" And she says, "Oh, we're watching Lion." And I'm like, "You mean you're paying $15 to watch the movie that we have sitting at home here?"
Yeah.
And so she came back and she's just like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "I had tears streaming down my face, the whole time." And I know the story of the guy because I read about it, but I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because this movie, the only thing I knew about it was that it was about an Indian boy who goes in search of his roots, and I was like, oh well, that sounds similar to like The Namesake,
sure,
or something, which I liked. But I was like, well, yeah, I feel like I've kind of seen that story. But I just kept incessantly seeing this movie being praised, and I happened to have a copy of it, and so I was like, okay, like, what is this? Let's throw it in. I got 2 hours, and I won't say much more about what the story's about, other than that is correct. But it is not at all like The Namesake, and it is a true story. And it's like I want to gush because it's my number one, but I also don't want to overhype. I always fear doing that. But it has a first half which features these child actors that are phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like, you can't teach this to a child actor. They just have it. And this one little boy in particular just has it. And it's just... And I mean, he really deserves so much credit for getting you into the story. And then, of course, Dev Patel is in this film, and he plays the boy grown up and whatnot. But this was one of those movies where I was just like, halfway through, I was like, this reminds you what movies can do. Wow. I mean, I really mean it. Like, I was just like, this story and the way that it just swept me up immediately. The acting was great. The story was amazing. And obviously Rogue One's what I'm going to be watching every year, probably, again, for the rest of my life and whatnot. But like, I didn't have any other movie this year I wasn't even going to bring this up, but since your wife already sort of said it, I was literally sobbing.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, I actually watched it by myself, and I just couldn't help it. I mean, and not to make it sound like it's some sort of overbearing, dour experience. I mean, there's a lot of uplifting moments. There's a lot of really heart-wrenching moments.
Tears of joy, I would imagine.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
And I just found myself really swept up in particular with this being a true story. You're just like, there are just so many stories happening on this planet right now. Some that are just so amazing and that I will never even come close to understanding or having a similar experience with. And some people are living these things that just cannot be understood.
Yeah, the fact that it's a true story.
Yeah.
It's astonishing,
It is. It's an astonishing story, and it's a really well-made film. And I'm so glad that I put it in the player. So wow. I very much recommend Lion.
And it's crazy, by the way, the person who plays Dev Patel's foster father is David Wenham, who is Faramir in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, funny. He looked familiar to me, but I didn't quite put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nicole Kidman plays the mother. You might remember Nicole Kidman. She used to be in movies.
Yeah, she's in kind of a small role, but it's a very impactful role for sure. And nice. She's part of the tears.
By the way, you're that's funny. You're talking about The Namesake. I don't know if you saw this, but the Wall Street Journal, their film critic is Joe Morgenstern.
Okay.
So this is true. In his review of The Namesake, he said that Lion is Dev Patel's richest performance since 2006's The Namesake.
I mean,
this was in the Wall Street Journal. Because The Namesake, folks, you might not realize this. The Namesake stars Kal Penn. Who is American.
It's called IMDb. He has to be trolling.
This is Joe Morgenstern.
How old was Dev Patel 10 years ago?
Yeah, right. Dev Patel is like 20-something now, right? So, yeah. So Dev Patel is British Indian. Kal Penn is Indian American, and they're other than the fact that they have the same melanin level in their skin. I mean, this is like confusing Jaimin Hunsu with Don Cheadle.
Right.
It's embarrassing. Yeah. Embarrassing. Anyway, so that's a number one for you. Number one for me, we already talked about it, so the wind is a little bit out of my sails. But Arrival.
Nice. Well, tell me a little bit. I ranted on my sort of take on it, but I want to hear.
Well, and I mean, we already spent quite a bit of time a few episodes ago talking about it, so I won't get into it too much. But I mean, I think it's the type of sci-fi movie that transcends its genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that Denis Villeneuve is at a point for me where he's like Christopher Nolan. Like if Christopher Nolan makes a movie, I will watch it.
Right.
And that's Denis Villeneuve for me.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree.
So that's it. I think that's it.
Hey, we did it.
Wow. Another best of year-end list.
What's so great too is I love that we had some things overlap. But yes. I also love that you have some things I haven't seen, so now I'm excited to check those out.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to finally watching Lion. If I don't cry, I will be very disappointed.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to set people up, but whatever. But it's just, even if you don't cry, when I put it at number one, it was just like I can't think of a movie that made me feel more than that one did this past year. So.
Yeah. And that's that's an honest reaction. So
yeah.
You cannot, discount that.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. With that, I think we're ready to wrap things up.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to hearing your list.
Yeah, well, I always enjoy going through these.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to hype up before we wind things down?
Well, Bob's Burgers, the television show which I work at, is back this Sunday, January 8th, and we got a whole new set of episodes coming up for the winter-spring season, so people should check that out for sure.
There we go. And as for me, you can find me at my website, Zackie'sCorner.com. That's the AKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter handle. That's also my Instagram handle. So do hit up follow there. And if you're looking for us, you can find us at our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. Please do hit like there. And also hit up iTunes and give us a star rating. Give us a review. Every little bit helps. You can also find us at Stitcher Radio and TuneIn Radio and Google Play. Basically, wherever you find podcasts, you will find this show. And we will be back in 2 weeks. We got a lot of fun new releases to discuss, plus a lot of older new releases that we haven't gotten to yet. So on behalf of Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. This has been the Movie Film Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends.